Hey, Eva, how are you?
Hello, hello. I'm doing really well. What about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. Um, okay, it's been a little bit since we hopped on one of these. Happy we're doing it again. Um, what would you like the topic to be today? What would you like to discuss?
There's something I'd like to just start with because it's something that it kind of goes into what we've talked about in the past, and it was a cool like little breakthrough moment I had that helped me stop a really bad habit that I had developed over the past like year or so. Keeping it brief, basically, I had started vaping around a year ago or so, and I had been vaping ever since. And I was lying to people, telling people I wasn't, or telling people I wasn't really vaping. I was only partly vaping, or only sometimes, but I was definitely fully vaping. I had a vape at all times in my pocket for the past year. And I recently, this past weekend, I had went snowboarding. And on the way back, I was talking to one of my friends, and I was talking about vaping, and I was saying how I wanted to stop, like I never wanted to be a vapor, and blah blah blah. And I realized I was like, wait, I throughout all of this, like I'm talking about being present, trying to be present, and not make excuses for things, and just be in the moment and really live. And it's like I'm now not being present at all. There's this thing that I don't want to be doing that I'm just letting myself keep doing. And I'm making all these excuses as to why I'm doing it or why I don't need to stop or why I don't want to stop now. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I making all these excuses? So I turned to my friend and I was like, as soon as we get back, this vape is going right in the garbage. And we got back like an hour later or whatever, and went inside. I forgot about it for a couple minutes, and I was like, oh, hold on. Like I tapped my friend on the shoulder, and I was like, I completely forgot to do this. Here's the vape, and I walked over to the garbage, and I was hanging out with a bunch of friends, like we're all standing around. I just walk over, I open up the garbage, and just throw the vape in, and that was it. And I haven't touched a vape since, and it was very cool. It was a very cool like for me, it was a very cool realization of like, wow, I'm making all of these excuses and all these reasons as to why I shouldn't. And even now, I have all these reasons as to why I should get a vape again, or why like I'm just sitting here craving it, and I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. And it's like, oh, I know a vape will help. Yeah, let me just get a vape. It's just a vape, just a little bit. And they come up with all these excuses. And it's like now that I'm fully realizing that I'm taking that step back and like, no, I'm not going to make these excuses. Like, I don't want to smoke a vape, so I'm not going to smoke a vape, period. There's no if, ands, or buts. There's no reasons why I should or why I shouldn't. I don't want to, so I'm not going to. It's as simple as that. And I feel like that is kind of what it means to actually be present and to live your life for you.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. I personally have been struggling a little bit the last 2 weeks. Have been a little bit difficult for me as well, and it's a lot easier said than done. The reason why I want to make this podcast is I want to be able to create content that gets people to just see, like kind of be like a mirror where you hear a conversation, you're like, oh my God, I'm doing that too, and then it's just a slap across your face where it really makes an impact. Um, so but it not but and it's a lot harder to really live it and to stay in that mindset, stay in that conversation. And that's why today, we were supposed to start at 9 a.m. and then it got pushed off. And I was like, let's do it tomorrow. And I was like, absolutely not. I've been living in tomorrow for too long. I think it's been 3 weeks since we did our last one, maybe two. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah. So it definitely is a lot easier said than done. And I would love to be able to create that kind of conversation, where we stop being the victim, or I stop being the victim to my life, and how I share my experience of it and share my tools, and as I do it, I hope it can impact other people as well. um, I do have a question though. In your story you said that you decided, what, I'm not going to be the victim to my vape anymore, and I'm going to throw it out. What made you say I'm going to throw it out when I get home? Why not right there, right then?
I was in a car driving on the highway, so I didn't have a place to throw it out. I wasn't going to throw it
Okay.
out the window, so I didn't have
Right.
a place. And that's why I was, as soon as we stop and we go in, I'm throwing it out.
Okay, I understand.
So it was we were driving back from the mountains because we were skiing all day. So we were driving back as this came up and as we were having this conversation, and I had this realization. I actually said that to her then too, where I was like, I want to throw it out now, but we're in the car. So as soon as we get back, the first thing I'm doing is I'm throwing it out. And then I forgot as soon as we got back because there were a bunch of friends there, so we're all hanging out and talking. But it was literally like 2 minutes later, I reached for my vape and I felt it in my pocket, and I was like, oh no, oh no, I'm supposed to throw this out now. And I had like a second of just sitting there, like, damn it. And then I was like, you know what? I said I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do. And I said it. I threw it out. And I'm not going to say it's been easy. It has most definitely not been easy since then. But it's very empowering in a sense. And in a way, I feel like it made it a lot easier for me because I realized what was going on and making that decision now. It's like, yeah, I'm craving it. Yeah, I want to smoke it. However, I've realized how much I let all those voices and thoughts and reasons just control everything I've done. And I'm just over that. I'm done with letting that control me. And I'm gonna live my life. And I don't want to vape. I've never wanted to vape. I've never wanted to be a vapor. So why would I let myself keep doing that? If I don't want to do it, okay, so I'm gonna stop. It's as simple as that. I'll throw it out and I'm done. And
Right.
it's as simple as that. And it's obviously a lot easier said than done. In the moment, it's super, super, super difficult. I think the most important thing is just acknowledging where you're at and taking responsibility for the parts that are your responsibility, if that makes sense. Like there are things that, yeah, we victimize ourselves and we make it like things are out of our control. When instead, I think what we really need to do is start focusing on the things that are in control. Because yes, there are things that are out of control, but they are out of control. So if you're focusing on it, you can't control it. You can't change it either way. So why are we focusing on that? And the things that you are in control of, if you fully focus on that and you make those little changes in that, I think it makes it a lot easier to take these big steps.
Right. And I definitely do think that it is important to own your part, right? And own the inauthentic way that you've been showing up, and that we've been showing up. For me, that's difficult to, in the moment, throw the vape out, right? I was a consistent. I smoked a lot of weed, and it was always very hard for me to stop. It was never hard for me. I wouldn't say never hard, but I used to flush an ounce down the toilet consistently. And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm done." But then the next day, go pick up more. The hard part is not falling to the victim after that high wears off, right? I at least empower myself consistently, and I'm on a like a high zone, and then it's like, but I could sit down and go on Twitter, and suddenly all of my high is like, okay, just 5 minutes of Twitter. 2 hours later, I'm still just swiping, right? So that's the difficult part, at least for me.
No, 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 for sure. But I think even with that, the important part is again about taking responsibility. Really take responsibility. For me, with the vape, the thing I did that made it much easier, and now it's much easier for me not to go smoke another one, is first I made this announcement in front of all my friends. I was there with 15 people, and I get up in front of everybody, tap my friend on the shoulder, and be like, "Oops, I forgot I was supposed to do this. Everyone, I'm throwing my vape out," and I threw my vape out in front of everyone. Like that's a big statement that I made in front of people. That now, if I go and get another vape, I just told everybody that I was done and threw it out. It pushes me to not take that step. As well as I took, besides the fact that I made an announcement in front of people, I purposely said it to my friend in the car as well a couple of times. Like, I wanted to make sure to say this, so I'm putting it out there, and this is what is going to happen. I'm going to stick to my word, and I'm saying I'm done. So I am done after this. And I said it a bunch of times. So now it's like, I really said that. Am I really going to just go back on my word like that? Does my word really mean that little? And to me,
Right.
it's like, I am what my word is. If my word doesn't mean anything, then like then anything I say doesn't mean anything. So how I'm not going to just go back on my word like that. So I gave my word to that extent so that now I am stuck where I can't go get another one. Even if I want, because I do want to. Of course I want to. I'm thinking about it all the time. I still keep reaching to my pocket or keep reaching for my vape. It's like, I want to vape. Or like I'm with my friends and my friends are vaping. It's like, ooh, can I hit that? And it's a conscious every moment. I need to take that responsibility to take that step on myself. I'm not a victim. I'm choosing what I want to do. If I choose to hit that, I'm choosing to do that. That is on me, and I need to take responsibility for that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I love what you're saying. It's kind of like in simple language creates, right? So everything that you're explaining is you had to share it, you had to share it, you had to share it, and then you had to take action. And then it's like this podcast for me, right? The reason why I like this and putting it out there and posting stuff is it holds me accountable, to showing up in my life a certain way. Like the other day, I was getting coaching from my seminar leader, and I was speaking to him, and he shared how the last 15 years he's been running seminars, right? He's been leading, doing seminars with 100 people in the seminar and they last like 3 months long, and he tries to do two a year. And he said the reason why he does it is because he needs to be held accountable for living the life he wants to live. And if he doesn't constantly put it in language and constantly share and constantly almost like preach living a specific way, then it's a lot easier to fall back to your old patterns, right? Like this past week, I haven't been in the best mindset, and instead of me saying let's go do a podcast episode, which I'm sure would have helped me, I pushed it off and pushed it off, and today I was like, that's it. Yesterday, I finally got in a little bit of a better headspace. I started taking more action. Today, we cleaned up the whole balcony, which we pushed off for a very long time. And there's a lot of things which I have been pushing off. While it's really important to get into communication and share in the time that you're down, and not wait. Like I kind of waited until I was feeling up, and now I'm getting in communication rather than getting in communication. Preach in the darkest, hardest times, and then you'll see a shift.
I think even more than that, I think a big thing is don't be scared to ask for help. When you're at your lows, when you're at those points where you don't know how to move forward, you don't know what to do next, or you don't feel that urge to like to do stuff, to get stuff done, that's when you need to focus. That's when you need to just take those little steps.
But it's very easy to say not to like to ask for help,
Mhm.
because in the moment when I'm like stressed out, sitting on my couch on Twitter, doing whatever I'm doing, just disconnecting, um, I find myself not feeling like I want help. Like asking for help in a time when you don't want it is almost a contradiction.
Well, I don't think it's that you don't want it. I think your brain is tricking you into that you don't want it. You think you don't want it. You do want it. You want to feel better. Your brain is tricking you into that you don't want to feel better, or that's not going to make you feel better, or that's going to be annoying, or that's going to be this. Again, it's all those reasons, all those voices going off at a million miles an hour. And when you break out of that, and yes, when you're in those moments, you force yourself to call somebody, to speak to somebody. It can help you snap out of that. And that's not saying
Right.
it's easy. Of course not. I struggle with this all the time. I think we
Right.
all do.
I like what you're saying. It's kind of like I heard my therapist back in the day, like almost 2 years ago. I was telling it, we were having a conversation, and he was saying, you need to get sober. Like, you need to stop. You're smoking too much weed. You're drinking too much. You need to cut it all out. Um, Otherwise, these conversations are kind of pointless, right? We have a great conversation, and then you just go disconnect. Like, it's very pointless. And inside that conversation, he used to say, right now, you're not even talking to me. It's your addict talking to me. Like there's almost a completely different voice. And if right now I were to be in an annoyed place and someone were to hand me a joint or pour me a cup of whiskey, and I'm suddenly like, you know what, I really want to drink. And then I just feel guilty, like I need to get my wife on board to so that she doesn't judge or whatever. Um, I'm not going to be talking to my wife. It's completely that addict voice that's going to be manipulating, convincing, and whatever it is. And it does the same thing to me. Like it convinces me and it gets in my way, makes me run my rackets. Um, so it's kind of what I hear you're saying is inside of getting help. You feel you don't want help because that it's like a manipulative voice, and it's not even your voice. It's totally manipulation. That if it was someone else talking to you that way, you would say like, dude, like I don't even want to be friends with you anymore. Like stop. Like I'm gonna block you, right? Or I'm gonna get a restraining order. While since it's our own voice, we believe it's us, and therefore we just listen to it. And it's so easy to say it, and it's so difficult to really catch like that voice. Like we're talking about the voice in your head, in my head. There's like a cold plunge in my neighborhood. In the summer, it's not really cold. The water is cold, but it's hot outside, right? Especially here in Israel, like it's hot. Right now, it's like rainy, cold. The other day, it snowed. Um, and there's like this water stream, and it's meant for like a dip. Like it's just like a 5 foot a dunk. That's it. It's like just a hole. Um, so recently, whenever I'm thinking like, oh, I should go, and then it's like, no, it's cold, or it's 10 at night, like forget that during the day it's cold. It's 10 at night right now. Definitely shouldn't be going. That's when I'm like, okay, you know what? I really need to go. And about 50% of those times I do go. Another 50%, like right now when we hang up, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to go, even though, right, I'm having this conversation. I really should go. Um, but my point is that even though I'm able to go just jump in the water, I don't sit, I don't think, I'm not like, should I go in, should I not? I literally strip and just jump in. Like there's no time to think for a second. And when I do that, it really like shuts that voice up. It's like you're not in control, I'm in control. While at the same time, when it comes to Twitter and me saying just 5 minutes of Twitter, it's a total manipulation game because 5 minutes of Twitter doesn't exist for me.
And
It doesn't exist. Why is it that when I hear the voice say, don't go in the water, I'm able to say challenge accepted and I go. Then when it says 5 minutes of Twitter, I go, all right, I could do that. Right? It's backwards. Why am I not taking the challenge when it says 5 minutes of Twitter to say absolutely not, like I do with the water?
I think that, well, with that, it's you're not telling yourself not to go. It's not about going on Twitter versus not. It's about I could do just 5 minutes. You're giving yourself a reason or an excuse as to why you don't have to. With the water, if you then said, if let's say your baby starts crying, right? So now your reason is, oh, I need to make sure she stops crying, and then you forget, and then you don't go. It's like, yeah, okay, so you had something come up, a reason as to why, right? And like that, I think that is what happens. I think also going off of like what we were saying before about just like our voices manipulating us and talking to us, like we fall into what those voices say. I think that's why it's a super important practice to really focus on what it is you're saying to yourself with everything. When it comes to things like this, when it comes to things that you're trying to get done that you're not getting done, whether it comes to just anything, everything and anything that you say about yourself, you do something wrong. For me, I do something wrong and I'm such an idiot. And it's like now I start believing that I'm such an idiot or all these little things. And I think that goes into yeah, into every aspect of life where we say things, and like you were saying before, we say things and that puts it out there, that makes it a reality.
So the problem that I have, I hear this all the time, and I even say this concept to other people. The problem that I have with it is I call my voice in my head like a ninja,
Mhm.
and it is quiet. I don't hear myself say you are an idiot, right? I just hear nothing. And I'm sure those messages are happening. It's very difficult for me to tune in, right? So again, it's easy to say be careful to what you say to yourself, but I'm curious how many. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm most likely everybody's voice is like a ninja, and they just shoot things, and you hold on to what you. Right? If you were to ask me what my voice says when I'm pushing off something with work or cleaning the balcony, right? It just says tomorrow. It doesn't say or soon. I'm going to deal with it soon. It doesn't say I'm an idiot or I'm a failure or I can't do it. Underline, I'm sure that's what it's saying,
Mhm.
right? No, what it does say is I don't have the energy right now.
That it's all excuses and reasons as to why. And that's what our brain does with everything. We come up with excuses and reasons for everything. Those voices are always going at a million miles an hour. What I think it's about is taking that time to try to acknowledge it and realize it as much as you can, and that will slowly grow and you'll realize it more and more. I'm sure there are times, or there have been times in your life where you've done something wrong or you made a mistake or whatever, and you said you had that response of I'm an idiot or something along those lines, or whatever, like I messed up or whatever it was, or like I'm not able to do this or I can't do this or even not now, any of those things.
Right. Like all these things are easier said than done. It's really a muscle that needs to be built.
Yes, no. That for that 100%. And I think that yeah, I mean it's super difficult. All these things are super difficult to do, and it's a lifelong journey. That's for me. I expect myself to be working on myself for the rest of my life till the day I die. I think there's always going to be ways to improve with this and with these things. And it's yeah, it's a muscle. It's something that we need to we keep practicing and we keep trying to hear those inner voices and realize those inner voices and realize what they're trying to say or what they're trying to protect us from. And then we can slowly work through those things. The first step though is starting to acknowledge it, and yeah, it's hard, and yeah, it can take a very long time to really acknowledge what the voices are or where the voices are coming from. However, the first step is acknowledging that those voices are even there in the first place,
Right.
right? you have to acknowledge the ninja is there to even try to set a trap to catch the ninja, or try to acknowledge to start being able to pick up on the cues that show you where the ninja is. It's a little bit at a time. You're not going to be able to just jump in and just catch the ninja. Yeah, if that's your attitude and that's what you like, that's the only way you succeed in your eyes. If you do that, yeah, it's going to feel like it's impossible because you can't just dive in and catch a ninja. You have no training into how to catch a ninja. You don't know where the ninja is. That ninja could be anywhere, right?
Right.
So you need to first learn the ninja, learn who the ninja is, what the ninja is, become, in a sense, become close to the ninja. And that, in a sense, maybe that ninja, another way to word that, maybe that ninja is your inner child.
Right. Or my
Maybe
protector.
what
Right.
you really need is to gain that closeness with your inner child to really understand your inner child.
Right. That makes sense. It's like just trying to protect me.
Exactly.
Right. That makes sense. Makes sense. I shouldn't give it such a bold name because if I call it my ninja, it gives it more power than it really
Well, that's
belongs.
I really like calling things my inner child or my younger self or stuff like that. It's the parts of me that are trying to protect me, and it's a loving part of me. It's not this malicious thing that's trying to hurt me. No, it loves me. That's why it's doing these things. That's why I'm doing these things, because it to me, because of the things that happen to me and because of my experiences, the way I love myself is by protecting myself in these certain ways. It's all about love. It's not hate. It's not anger. It's not that I'm trying to hurt myself. It's not that someone's trying to hurt me. It's about, and I think that is a big part too, is acknowledging, again, really realize where these things come from. And it takes a long time. It could take years of work. That could be your own personal work, reading books, just thinking through things, however, whatever tools you use, whether you go to
Right.
therapy or you have coaches, whatever it is, that can help you try to find those areas and those things that we need to work on.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. So, and like we said before, it's progress. It's something that's not. It's not one, two, three, and it's done. It's a
Exactly.
lifelong journey.
And even more, I think, even a step more than that, it's also not linear. It doesn't just go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, and then right, you just keep it. That's not the way any of this stuff works. You might go from 1 to 2 to 3, and then you might fall back down to one.
Right. It's a roller
It's a
coaster.
roller coaster. Exactly.
Right. That's what I always say. I always say life's a roller coaster. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Or I
And
say I'm playing racquetball with myself. Like great, bad, great, bad, great, bad.
yep.
Yeah,
And
definitely,
then for me,
definitely.
it's like the roller coaster part. I try to take it a one step farther and be like, it's a roller coaster, and I enjoy roller coasters. It's a thrill. That's what life is. It's a thrill. It's a roller coaster. And yeah, there's the positive experiences, there's the negative experiences, there's parts I really enjoy, there's parts I don't. But overall, it's all part of this experience of life. And I'm so lucky to be having this experience of life.
Right. Definitely are. It's a tool and it's a muscle that will be built over time. And yeah, it's consistent work. Do you have any closing thoughts you wanna throw in there?
Um, I mean, I think that from like the stuff I said was, I feel like I touched on a lot of my thoughts on this, but I think that really the most important thing is just take it one step at a time, give yourself grace, be proud of yourself. And again, it's one step at a time, one tiny thing at a time, and be proud of yourself. Be grateful to yourself for everything that you do. And you woke up today, you opened your eyes, you took a breath, you smiled, whatever it is that you've done, be proud of yourself. And then
I
think of
love
the
that.
next moment and the next moment. And yeah,
I love that. I love what you're saying. And yeah, I guess I would just close off with just adding to what you're saying as you need to remember that there's no such thing as a bad day. It's only bad moments and great moments. So yeah, that's it. So thank you, Kiva. I appreciate it. And you're awesome.
amazing. You as well. This was really nice. And
Yeah.
like we always end off to everybody, peace and love to all. All
Okay.
right. Take care.